Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov, Bruchim Habayim, welcome. I'm sorry I can't see you, but it's great to be back together. It is Sunday morning, Baruch Hashem. We get to continue our learning. We're actually going to start just 1 minute. 1 second, let me just get this signaled. Be right back. Okay. All right. It's beautiful to learn together, but it's not the same as being together in person. We are experimenting with different online methods of doing this teaching. So today we're using this YouTube vehicle. I don't know if YouTube was created for the purpose of disseminating Torah, but it's certainly very helpful. So shkoyach to those who are joining. And afterwards, you know what, actually, what might be a good idea is this week is different than last week. If you have a chance, maybe just send me an email which one you think was better. We could try actually a different one next week. Our schedule is that Mir Hashem, we will meet next Sunday morning for our annual Haggadah Highlights Shiur. And we have a bunch of shiurim, which I hope you saw. And then after the shiur, I hope you will be able to stick around. It's actually on a different thing. You have to click on that link from the email from last night to be able to access the Haggadah presentation from my uncle Rabbi Moshe Brand, who's going to be coming to us live from Florida. So we are very excited about that. I hope everybody received the email late last night with the Mar Makomos for today's shiur. I'm just pulling it up now on my computer. So we're going to use this. Hang on 1 second. Here we go. Got it. Okay, so I hope everybody has the source sheet from last night called Zman Cheruseinu. I'm trying to think, is there a way to do sharing screen on this? That I have no idea. All right, I just work here. Let's get started. Our theme today is going to be Cherus, freedom. And so to explore this Pesach theme together, let's begin with a section of the Haggadah for the first of 4 questions, because if we're doing a Pesach discussion, what better way to frame it than 4 questions? So if you could see, if you have your source packets in front of you, your Mar Makomos, your source sheets, great. If not, don't worry about it. I'll read it out for you. I went out by email last night to those who are on this list. If you're not on the list and you'd like to join on Sunday mornings, Emir Hashem, we're going to get back together in person very soon. B'karov, we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to send us Yeshua from this crazy Magefa. It should be Matzlo of us, give Refuah Shleima to all the Cholim. So if you want to give some feedback or join the regular weekly list, just send me an email. We're going to begin our first question. I see a bunch of people are just joining. Welcome, everybody. I wish I could see you. I wish I could be with you in person. So let's share the Torah. The Torah will connect our neshamas. So the first source, we have a section from the Haggadah that's probably familiar to you. It is the introduction to the Haggadah. It's not part of the original Haggadah that existed in the Mishnah. It's a passage that's written in Aramaic, which has specific reasons for that, not for today's discussion. Halach ma'anya. This is the poor man's bread, or as some people sing, Halach ma'anya diacholo avosana. This is the poor man's bread that our fathers ate, ba'ara de Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt. Kol dichvin, kafna means a hunger. Kol dichvin, anybody who's hungry, yesei v'yechol, should come and eat. Kol ditzrich, anybody who needs, yesei v'yifsach, should come and participate in the Korban Pesach. So that's a question, how you can invite somebody to the Korban Pesach on the night of the Seder. You're only allowed to invite people to the Korban Pesach if they were signed up in advance. Okay, I have to figure that out at a different time. So here's the key line I wanted to focus on together. Hashta, hashata hacha. Now we are here. Here being written in Aramaic means in Bavel or in Chicago, Skokie, wherever we are. Leshana haba ba'ara d'Yisrael. Next year, we will be, please God, in the land of Israel. Hashata avdei. Now we are avodim. Leshana haba, next year, b'nei chorin. Next year, we're going to be b'nei chorin. So I want to understand something. Tonight, or the night of the Seder, I should say, imagine that we're sitting at our Seder tables. Everybody should be well and celebrate the Seder with as much simcha, as much joy, even if it's not going to be the usual Seder for them, and not their usual arrangement. But the night of the Seder, we are B'nai Chorin. We are free people. That's why we have Heseba. That's why we lean. That's why we drink Dalet Kosos. The Rambam says that Dalet Kosos and Heseba are an expression of Cherus. So if the night of the Seder is the night of Cherus, of freedom, so why is that we're saying Hashata Avdi? Now we are Avodim. Not Avodim. We're B'nai Chorin. So maybe you'll tell me the truth is it's possible to say that Hashata Avdi means at the beginning of the Seder. The beginning of the Seder, we are Avodim. But by the end of the Seder, because Chai Avodim Liras Esatzim Ki'ilu Hu Yatzim Mitzrayim, we have to see ourselves as if we left Egypt. So it's true at the beginning of Magid, Avodim Hayinu, we're still slaves. But by the time we get to the end, Vayotzienu, then by Halal we're free. Okay, but I don't think that's the shot of this line. So I'm trying to figure out, what does it mean that at the night of the Seder, we are on the one hand B'nai Chorin, on the other hand, we are still referred to as Hashata Avdi. That's issue number 1. Issue number 2 comes from Parshas Bo. The night of Yetzias Mitzrayim, this magical night of destiny that the Jewish people experienced in Egypt, is introduced to them in the beginning of Perek Yud Beis in Shmos. Vayomer Hashem Moshe ve'el Aaron be'eretz Mitzrayim lemor hachodesh hazeh lochem Rosh Chodashim. This is Rosh Chodesh, and you should prepare for Pesach by taking the Korban Pesach on the 10th. It's called Mikro Mi Ba'asar. Moshe Rabbeinu receives the laws of the Korban Pesach here in Parakid Beis. If you have a Chumash handy, you can turn to it. If you don't have a Chumash, you can go online. You can check on sefaria.org, or you can look on Machon Mamre, whatever it is, or you could just follow listen out loud. The Chumash gives us in Parakid Beis all of the laws of Korban Pesach. And then Moshe Rabbeinu, toward the end of Parakid Beis, after he is taught the laws of the Korban Pesach and the laws of matzah, he then is told, he teaches it to the elders, Vayikra Moshe l'chol ziknei Yisrael, and he tells them, Mishchu chulachem tzon. So go gather the sheep for yourselves, make sure you learn how to put the blood on the doorposts, and then Pasuk Chavtes, Vayihi b'chatzi halayla. It was at the stroke of midnight, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu hits all of the Bechorim. So we are instructed in the beginning of the parak, prepare for the Korban Pesach. The pasuk says, they did this. Vayilchu vayasu, comes Vayi b'chatzi halayla, and the Bnei Yisrael did everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them chen. They borrowed stuff, they asked stuff from people, and they went from Sukkos to Ramses. They left that night. Well, at least they began leaving that night. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us in the end of Parakid Beis, Leil Shimur Mula Hashem L'Hotziam Me'eretz Mitzrayim. This is the night of watching. And then Moshe Rabbeinu in Pasuk Mem Gimel is given more laws related to the Korban Pesach. Zos chukas haPasach kol ben neichel lo yochal bo. No alien person should eat from it. A person who didn't have a bris milah shouldn't eat from it. Vayihi be'etzem hayom hazeh hotzi Hashem es b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim al tzivosam. Last Pasuk 51 in Parakid Beis, one of the most dramatic, key, landmark psukim in the entire Torah, the change of the trajectory of the future of the Jewish people. We leave Egypt. Be'etzem hayom hazeh. What is the next pasuk? The beginning, after the next little paragraph break in the Chumash, there are paragraph breaks, little sections to take a breath. Vayidaber Hashem Moshe Lemar, and it's on your source sheet. What would you expect is going to be the next pasuk? Well, in Parakid Gimel, we are told HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring us to the land, and we're going to observe this Chag HaMatzos, and we're going to eat matzah for 7 days, and it's going to be a remembrance for us. Yes, it will. But what are we told? Pasuk Beis, Kadesh li kol b'chor, Peter kol rechem b'vnei Yisrael. It's on your source page. Ba'adam v'vehema lihu. To sanctify the Bechoros, the firstborns of the Jews, of the animals, it's for me. In the middle of everything, one mitzvah for you to remember in the context of Yetzias Mitzrayim, because in Pasuk Gimel it says, "Vayomer Moshe Elohim, Zachor es hayom hazeh asher yitzasem miMitzrayim bebeis avodim." Remember this day HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out. Hayom atem yotzim b'chodesh Aviv. And then we're told HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take us to the land we eat matzah, and we're going to wear tefillin to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim. Of course, we're going to wear tefillin. Tefillin is that daily reminder. B'yad chazak of Yisro Netuya. And then the next pasuk, in the end of Parakid Gimel, again, talking about the mitzvah of Bechor. In this case, it's V'havarta kol pecha rechem l'Hashem kol Peter shega behema. This relates to Peter, next pasuk, Peter chamor. How is that unusual? You're going to do a mitzvah with a chamor. A chamor is a non-kosher animal. So yes, there is the mitzvah of Peter rechem when it comes to a person, a firstborn male child. We refer to that as pidyon haben. There is the mitzvah of bechor of a kosher animal, a behema tahora, which becomes a korban. And then there's the third mitzvah, which is included here, of peter chamor, that if you don't redeem it, you're supposed to cut the neck off of it, va'arafto v'chol bechor, adam b'vonecha tivdeh as well. And when your child is going to ask one day, mazos, what is this strange mitzvah? It's a behema tamea. He's going to say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out and he killed all the bechoros of Egypt. What is going on over here? Why are these mitzvos of Peter Chamor, so significant that they're placed right in the middle of the narrative and the mitzvos of Yetzias Mitzrayim? So you will tell me, of course they belong here, because these mitzvos about the firstborn are parallel to Makas Bechoros, which had the effect on the firstborn. So that's true. So I want to understand, why is that so central? Do we have any mitzvos that are surrounding Makas Arov, the plague of the wild beasts? Do we have any mitzvos that are surrounding Makas Kinim, the lice? Maybe we had this year in our house, actually, we had a shtickle makkah of kinim. Unfortunately, we had some lice in our house, but we didn't have any mitzvahs. We had to get the lice people to get the lice out of our house. It was crazy, upside down. I never had an appreciation for makkah's kinim until we had this makkah. But why is it? Is it just because makkah's bechoros is the last makkah, or is it because there is something fundamental about makkah's bechoros that we need to remember? So that's issue number 2. Issue number 1, the story with Halach Ma'anya Hashata Avdi. Issue number 2 is Makas Bechoros. Here's issue number 3. A Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Mishnah tells us Pirkei Avos. You have it in front of you. It's in source number 2. This Mishnah Pirkei Avos, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, he says, this is in the last parak of Pirkei Avos, which means it's not actually a Mishnah. The last parak of Pirkei Avos is a collection of other sayings from the period of the Mishnah, we refer to as the Bryce of Kinyan Torah, but it's included in the Mishnah so that we have 6 full weeks from Pesach to Shavuos, so we have some ethical teachings, and it's focused primarily on Torah. On Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, Baskol Yotzeis Mehar Chorev. A Baskol, which means the heavenly voice, goes from Har Chorev, Har Sinai, Umachrezes ve'omeres, and it announces and it says, Oy lahen lebrios me elbona shel Torah. Woe is it to the brios, to the creatures, to human beings, from the shame of Torah. Shekomi she'ina osik v'Torah. Anybody who doesn't study Torah, anybody who doesn't literally means isn't involved in Torah, it's not just study Torah. Nikra nazuf. Nazuf. What does the word nazuf mean? Well, literally it means to be rejected. So nazuf, well, let's say if you go in the Morphic's English Hebrew dictionary, they translate nazuf as rebuked, censured, reprimanded, called nazuf. So somebody who doesn't engage in Torah study, and Baruch Hashem, look at us, we're getting together, starting our week Sunday morning, virtually together. We're studying Torah, because otherwise we're called nazuf. Why? Why is that person rebuked? So it quotes a pasuk in Mishlei. Strange pasuk. Nezem zahav ba'af chazir. A gold ring, meaning a nose ring, in the nose of a chazir, a pig. Isha yafa, a beautiful woman, visaras tam, but no tam, literally no taste, or foul affect. What does this pasuk have to do with the fact that the person isn't involved in Torah? The nezem zahav ba'af chazir. I would have said a person who's not learning Torah is missing out on Olam Haba, is missing out on their connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why is it this unusual image? And then we go further. V'omer. If that wasn't enough to convince you, I'll give you a pasuk. V'haluchos. Maise Elokim Hema. The luchos, the tablets that we were given at Har Sinai, this is later in Shemos, this is in Parshas Kisisa. They were the first luchos. They were literally fashioned from the substance that was a divine substance, a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'hamichtav, and the writing on it was also Michtav Elokim. Originally, the substance, the stuff of the luchos was divine. When we had to repeat it, the second luchos, that was stuff which Moshe Rabbeinu had to hew out from a rock. Here's the key line. Choros ala luchos. The words were engraved, they were charus, they were dug out on the luchos. Al tikri choros, don't read it as engraved, dug out. Elacherus, freedom. She'in lecha ben chorin elamisha osik b'talmud Torah. A person is not free unless they are engaged in Talmud Torah. So what does this have to do with the shame of not being involved in Torah and the Nezim Zahav Ba'af Chazir? And how do you even learn this drasha? Because the luchos, which had the Torah on them, they were engraved, and the word charus sounds like the word cherus. So that teaches you that to be free, you have to be engaged in the luchos. Is that just a play on words? Or is it something more substantive? That's issue number 3. Issue number 4. There is a medrash. You see it here on the source. This medrash Tehillim, it's at the beginning of Hallel. Hallelujah, Hallelu Avdei Hashem, Hallelu Hashem Hashem. If you look, let's open the Tanakh. If you look in this section of Tehillim, this is in a section of Tehillim that we refer to as Hallel. It begins in Kuf Yud Gimel, and it concludes in Kuf Yud Ches with the Hodol Hashem Ki Tov Ki L'Olam Chasto. So it's a series of mizmorim that we're going to sing as a unit that we call Hallel. And it begins with this opening line, Kuf Yud Gimel. I think it got cut off in the Mar Makomos here, the Mizmor Kuf Yud Gimel. It's not Kuf Yud, it's Kuf Yud Gimel. Halu kahalu es Avdei Hashem, halu es Hashem Hashem, Yishem Hashem Mevorach Me'ato Ve'arolam. And that begins this sequence of the section that we call Hallel. But the truth is, there's actually a Hallelujah before this. That's Kuf Yud Beis, but that's not included in what we call Hallel. So this opening phrase of Hallelu Avdei Hashem, what does it mean to be Avdei Hashem? So there, I cut out most of this medrash, but the medrash Tehillim says in the conclusion that we sing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ba'uso Halayla. Here you have just the last line, Shega Altanu. That night that you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, redeemed us. If you could see it, it's on the bottom of the first page of the source, the 2 pages. Ba'uso Halayla Shega Altanu. That night that you redeemed us, and that you took us out to freedom. Shehayinu avodim lefaro, we were slaves to Paro. V'ga'altanu, and you redeemed us. V'asisanu, and you transformed us. You made us lacha to you la'avadim, for you, for slaves. Lakach nemar. That's why it says in the pasuk, Hallelu Avdei Hashem. Praiseworthy are you. Who is going to praise you? Hallelujah, you are praiseworthy. Hallelu Avdei Hashem. The Avdei Hashem, the servants of God. Excuse me 1 second. Excuse me. Velo Avdei Paro. We are no longer Avdei Paro. We are referred to as Avdei Hashem, and therefore we praise you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So here's my question. Tonight, the night of the Seder, this magical night, we say, we were taken out, Chazal referred to it as Cherus Olam, eternal freedom. We are B'nai Chorin, we are free people. But that's a misnomer. We're not actually free people, because we are still Avdei Hashem. So why is it that we keep talking about the Seder night as a night of Cherus, Zman Cherusenu? We're not actually B'nai Chorin. We're just free from Avdei Paro, but now we're Avdei Hashem. So how do we understand being B'nai Chorin and being Avdei Hashem? Are those compatible? Are they synonymous? How do we understand this? So to think about this, one way to frame this discussion is to slide down on your Mar Makomos page, and you have here a passage from Rav Kook. Rav Avram Yitzchak HaKohen Kook, great picture if you could see it in front of you, and you see the turn of the 20th century vehicle driving behind that puts you in the context. Rav Kook passed away in 1935. Rav Kook actually speaks about Cherus and Avdus in multiple places. So one place is in the Haggadah of Rav Kook in Yonei Pesach. So this sefer that I'm holding in front of me, this is called Olas Raya, the Siddur of Rav Kook, and in here includes the Haggadah. It's a selection of likutim, of passages of Rav Kook, And in the beginning of the section on Pesach, he talks about Cheirus and Bir Chametz. In addition, in the Igros and the letters of Rav Kook, and this is really for a different time, but it's really quite a fascinating discussion, Rav Kook talks about, in general, the phenomenon of slavery and servitude and freedom in the context of the emancipation of slaves. Rav Kook is living, he's born in 1866, so he's living after Abraham Lincoln emancipated the slaves, but he's writing at a time where slavery is becoming, not acceptable socially, and he's thinking about that in terms of the context of slavery as it's referred to in the Chumash. So he has two letters to a fellow by the name of Moshe Zeidel about the idea of slavery and the application of slavery and how the Torah views freedom and servitude. So Rav Kook has multiple places where he addresses this. What you have on the page in front of you is a selection from works called Ma'amarei Harayah, the Ma'amorim, the statements of Rav Kook. In the volume, it's on page 157. And here is a section of Ma'amorim, of statements, of teachings that Rav Kook delivered on Shabbos and Yontif. So it's a sequence. Some of these selections were actually excerpted and put into the Haggadah. So if you open the Rav Kook Haggadah Shel Pesach, you will find some of these words, but not the full text, because they didn't bring everything. They kind of condensed it. Here you get a full section of this passage of Ma'amarei HaRe'iyah on the concept of Cheirus. So Rav Kook, here we're going to focus in on this one line here. Rav Kook says, this one paragraph, Ha'hevdel shebein ha'eved uben ha'chorin, the difference between the eved, the servant, v'ha'bencho uben chorin, and a free person. Just one second. Here. Here it is. Ha'hevdel, you see it on the page top line. Ha'hevdel, the difference. Shebein ha'eved uben ha'chorin, and the free person. Einenu rak hevdel ma'amadi. It is not just a difference. Ma'amad means status. It's not just a difference in a ma'amad in status. Masha b'mikre, that which happens to be, so to speak, occurrence. It happens to be ze hu mishubad la'acher. This person is enslaved to one other person. V'zehu bilti mishubad, and this person is free. Rather, says Rav Kook, ani yacholim limtzo eved. We can find a servant, a slave, who is maskil, who literally maskil means intellectual, thoughtful, mindfully engaged. That is maskil. Sherucho hu mole cheirus, that his spirit is full of cheirus. Rav Kook says you can have a person who is literally enslaved, but he's the spirit of a free person. Ula hepach, and the opposite, ben chorin, a seemingly free person, sherucho hu ruach shel eved, that his spirit is the spirit of an eved, a slave. So says Rav Kook, what is cheirus? And this is what he talks about in the previous paragraph, where he kind of beats the drum a little bit, says the drum roll. Says Rav Kook, he says, Hacheres hatzivyonis, the quality of freedom, he osa haruach hanisa, is that elevated spirit, sheha'adam v'chein ha'am b'chlolo misromim al yada, that the nation and the individual and the nation are misromim, are elevated through it. Liyos, here's the key line, ne'eman, true, laha'atzmius ha'pnimis shelo, the person's inner essential self. Atzmi, like independence, atzmaut, atzmi, essence, to my inner essence. He says true freedom is that feeling, that sense, that quality of life in which a person, and of course Rav Kook is very much aware and sensitive to and accents the national quality, that the qualities that we have as individuals is also a set of qualities that applies to the nation, that elevates us to be true to our inner selves. Lahatchuna hanafshis, to the personal spiritual quality, shel tselem Elokim, of a tselem Elokim asher b'kirbo, of the inner image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that every human being is created in the image of God, which means that our true essence is that reflection of the divine. Ubitchuna hakazos, and with this quality, efshar lo lahargish es chayav, a person can feel their life, b'tor chayim magamatiyim. Megama means a telos, a goal. A person that feels that their life, their goal, is shavim es erkam, is worth living, has value. Masha'en king bebal haruach shala avdus, as opposed to somebody who has the spirit of slavery, as an eved, shaliolam, that always ein tochen chayav hargasho so meurin betchunas hanafshis ha'atzmis. It is lacking. It's not filled with a spirit and a feeling of a sense of self, of what's my identity. Rather, ki im b'mashu yafeh v'tov eitzel ha'acher hasholet olav eza shlita shehi. Rather, that person feels a sense of being encumbered, being ruled over. They don't have their own identity to decide what's nice and what's beautiful and what's appropriate for them. Rather, that's being decided by someone else who rules over them. Whatever that shlita is, bein shehu rishmis, bein shehu musaris, whether that is formal or emotional. B'masha oso ha'acher, that's what that other person most say, shu yafeh v'shu tov, what that person defined as nice and good, rather than what I find. Oh, before we do the second paragraph, now we can reflect. Rav Kook says, wait a second. What it means to be free is to mean to be true to yourself. So the Gemara says in Bava Metzia, Kili b'nei Yisrael avodim, the pasuk says. The Gemara has a drasha, avodayim v'lo avodim la'avodim. And that means, says the Gemara, that a poel, somebody who's in the middle of work, somebody who's doing a job, yochol lachzor bo b'chatzi hayom. They have the ability, the right, the halachic license to quit in the middle of the day. Doesn't mean they don't have responsibility for somebody to pay for somebody else to finish the job. It doesn't mean that that's a nice thing to do. But legally, poel yachol lachzor bo afilu b'chatzi hayom. Why? The answer is because the Gemara says avodim, who are slaves, who are people who are fixed, only avdei Hashem. Lo avodim la avodim. A person who is, let's say, in the middle of a job as a bricklayer, they can pick up and say, you know what? This pursuit, it's not me. It's not me. That's not my inner soul. And I'm not meshubad to anybody else. I am a ben chorin, and I can decide that this is not going to be my life's work. You know, in Israel, in Artseinu HaKadosha, you find this a lot. It's an amazing thing. We went with our family, Baruch Hashem, when we had that opportunity to go. So we went to an incredible thing. I highly recommend it. It was fascinating. We went to the Seidel Bakery, which is in Karnei Shomron. It's in a beautiful neighborhood in their house. The Seidels, they set up a bakery, and he told us that he used to be in high tech, and he decided he's going to follow his passion. He's going to do baking. So he created Machon Lechem Aponim, Machon breads of the Beis Hamikdash. You can go there. We went with all of our children, and they all enjoyed it, from the oldest to the youngest, high school to the preschool. Amazing, a 3-hour workshop on the breads of the Beis Hamikdash. Because he decided that wasn't his atzmius, that wasn't his essential neshama. So on an employment level, a person can poel yachol lachzor bo afilu b'chatzi hayom. I could say that's not what I want to do. That's on a physical level, and that's why the word chorin, b'nei chorin, is lashon of mechurarin, charar. If you look in the Gemara Maseches Ksubas Daf Nun Aleph and other places, has this phrase, You can be gova, you can collect min ha-mechurarin. What are mechurarin? You have two kinds of objects. Let's say you have a home, and your home has a mortgage on it. So that lien is, it's holding on to, it means that your house is not totally yours. It's also mishubad. It is enslaved, so to speak. It is indebted to the mortgage holder, to the person who has the loan, to the company that carries the mortgage. Mechurarin are property that have no lien. They're not meshubah to anything. B'nei Chorin means we're not meshubah to anybody else. And Rav Kook says that's true on a physical level, that I could do whatever work suits me. And Eved can't decide what they want to work today. They have to be following whatever work the Adon, the master, gives them. So in that respect, they are not B'nei Chorin. B'nei Chorin means they could do whatever they want. A Pole can be Choser Be'emtza Yom. But Rav Kook says really it means on a level of Musar, on a spiritual level. It means that when a person has a passion and society tells them, no, that's not a good thing to do, if they say, oh, you know what, I have to do whatever society tells me. So that person is not a Ben Chorin either. Because instead of doing what is true to their essential self, they do what society tells them. There is an amazing person who I know, I don't want to give away too many names here, who started college and said, they want to be a dentist. That's really, it speaks to them in the way that they can relate to people and help people. And then, when they started, a friend of theirs and people in their environment said to them, what do you want to be a dentist for? You want to move to Israel? You want to go into computers. That's the best place to put your energies. You want to go into computers. So this person, this student, who marched into the academic office and said, you know what? Instead of going for dentistry, I'm going to go into computers that relates to finance, something in what we can call the Cy Sims School of Business, what they used to call the degree in MIS. And then this person, very amazing and talented person, wonderful person, finished all of school in the Cy Sims Business School in Stern College and decided, you know what? Actually, I did want to become a dentist. And listening to what the society was telling me that I should become, something else, that wasn't true to my essence. My mission, my calling in this world, the Rebbe Shalom put me here to help people in a very specific way as it relates to dentistry. So this, Baruch Hashem, this very, very talented person, who I happened to start meeting around this time, decided they were going to go back to school for another year to do all of their sciences in that 1 year, just knock them all out at once while dating. I'll just say it was a very busy time for this person. But that was an example of a story of someone who, Baruch Hashem, capable of doing many different things, but really had a vision inside for themselves of what their place in the world, what their vocation was going to be. And ultimately they came back to it, but they were digressed for a little while because of what society was telling them and what their friends were telling them, what the academic advisement was telling them, whatever any other people were telling them. To be a Ben Chorin means to be spiritually, emotionally emancipated from everybody else and just doing what is you, being true to yourself. Sometimes you read stories about people who have these wild career changes. It's not just because the work that they're doing is not true to themselves. It's because their mission, their calling is finally shining through. I have an interesting parable. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's a very interesting book. It's a parable about, slowing down life and figuring out what's really important, what's true to ourselves. So it's true on a physical level in terms of the work that we do, but of course, on a deeper level, on a truer level, it's true in terms of the decisions that we make in life, the pursuits that we follow, the path that we take. Is it the inner path that is pertinent to us, that is resonant with us, or is it somebody else's path that they gave us, they told us? On a spiritual level, this is the pshat, which is that Rav Kook is telling us every person has that inner spiritual quality. What is that? Our Tzelem Elokim, our neshama. That's what we have. And that is our true self. So what does it mean now to be a Ben Chorin? It means to be true to yourself, To be true to yourself means to be an expression of your neshama, to be an expression of the Tzelem Elokim. Says Rav Kook, let's go back to the next paragraph. Says Rav Kook here on the third line, this is what it means. End of the second line, Ruach shel hakara atzmis pnimis, a recognition of our inner self, which is our neshama, that's our soul. Charos ala luchos, engraved on the luchos. Al tikre charos ala cheres. He quotes that Mishnah. Lule zos matana teflo shalonu shenitna lanu me'az be'isi sinu lecheres olam yad par melech Mitzrayim. Lule zos hois ha'golos yecholu lahafoch ruchenu b'kibenu l'ruach shalavadim. Had we not been given this inner essential Torah that becomes our identity, maybe we would remain avodim. But this gift is essential to us. The Torah that we've gotten is a Ben Chorin that is connected to our neshama. So now I understand very well, according to Rav Kook, why it's referred to as charos. Because a person can take a piece of paper. Here's my notes. You have a paper with ink on it. The ink is not part of the paper. It's paper with ink. But when you engrave, the engraving becomes part and parcel of the stone itself. The Torah is not ink on paper. The Torah is charos. It's engraved. It's who we are. It's our identity. It's an expression of our neshama. It's Yisrael v'oraisa v'kudshabrichu chadu. It's the oneness of us and Hashem and this expression of godliness called Torah. That is our essential self. When we are osik b'Torah, we are in touch with our essential self, with the spark of godliness, with the expression of godliness within. That's why we are called B'nai Chorin, because when we are in the spiritual light of Torah, we are truly free. Why? Because we're tapping into our essence, to ourself. That's why it's perfectly a fit of the charus meaning the engraved, and that's why the first part of that Mishnah said, Nezem Zahav Ba'af Chazir. What do you mean? It's a ring that's on a pig, meaning there's something that's not appropriate, it's not fitting. A person who's not learning Torah, it's not fitting because the Torah is themselves. Our inner essential self is a soul, is an expression of Torah, of godliness, of that spiritual light. So it's like so off. Someone who's not learning Torah, it's like a pig wearing a ring. It just doesn't fit. A pig belongs in mud, and a ring belongs to a beautiful woman. That's exactly what the Mishnah is telling us. That when we are in Torah, we are B'nai Chorin because we are ourselves. So that's what we were given when we left Mitzrayim. We were given this opportunity to become free in the sense of B'nai Chorin, of people who are in touch with our spiritual selves, with our connection to our Kadosh Baruch Hu, and ultimately to receive the Torah at Har Sinai. So yes, we are avodim to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but on the other hand, that avdus to Hashem really is the ultimate cherus. So when we say we are avdei Hashem, that's not a stira, it's not a contradiction to being avodim, to being B'nai Chorin. Avdei Hashem is B'nai Chorin. But I think if we could take it just a few more minutes, we can understand something deeper. Because if this is where we left it, that we are B'nai Chorin because we are connected to our soul. Our soul is our essential self. That is our choros, that's our cheros. So as spiritual beings, we are free from the shackles of Egypt, from society, from all of the distractions of Olam Hazeh, to be our spiritual selves. And therefore, to being an Eved of Hashem is the ultimate cherus. Yes, but there's more. Because what happened on the night of the Seder? On the night of the Seder, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not just take us out as his avodim. We did not just transfer directly from Avdei Paro to Avdei Hashem. On the night of the Seder, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not treat us and designate us as avodim. He designated us as banim, as children. Rashi says that the translation of ufasachti, I passed over, is not ufasachti. One opinion is v'chamalti, I had rachmanas on you. What does it mean? Well, I had rachmanas on you. I had care, compassion, love, ahava. Rashi's other expression of ufasachti, to pass over, is vidilagti, I skip. Lidaleg, vidiglo is the same word, daleg and degel. Vidiglo alai ahava. There was a love. That's more than an eved. Im kibanim, im ka'avodim. We say in Tishrei, we relate to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as, maybe banim, but at least avodim, as servants. Avodim don't have love and an emotional, deep bond with their employers, with their masters. But on the night of the Seder, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not say to us, avodai atem. He did not say that. He said, B'ni bechori Yisrael. You are my firstborn child. Makas Bechoros, this was the yisod that my Rebbe Rav Moshe Stav in Keren B'Yavneh all those years ago, I still remember he developed this yisod at length, this fundamental point. On the night of the Seder, Makas Bechoros is different because the first Makos were teaching the Egyptians, you guys should know, I am God, I'm involved in the world, I'm aware of what's going on, and I will interfere. But Makas Bechoros is different. Makas Bechoros, we prepared for Makas Bechoros. We did the Korban Pesach. We did the Mila. Because for the other Makos, we didn't have to get involved because it wasn't really about us. But Makas Bechoros was. Makas Bechoros is the demonstration of the Bechira, of the chosenness of the Jewish people as the children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as the Bechorim, as B'ni Bechori Yisrael. And for that, we're going to have mitzvahs all over the place. Anytime you're going to find a Bechor, even a Bechor Be'ema Tameya, even a Chamor, that's going to be a reminder. Every Bechor says only one thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I only have one Bechor. Li kol Bechor. Who is my Bechor? The Jewish people. An Eved, a servant, he does the will of his master. Be'echreach. It's tshuva meira. We do it because we have to. If we don't do it, we're going to suffer the consequences. But a ben, a son, he doesn't do tshuva meira. This is Nisan. Nisan is tshuva me'ava. It's shira shirim. It's ratzon. It's a family connection. The Jewish people, when we left Egypt, we did not transition from Avdei Paro to Avdei Hashem. We transitioned from Avdei Paro to Banim Lamakom. That's why there are so many parallels. The Medrash talks about Goy Mikerev Goy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu birthed us, one nation from another, and the Medrash gives the example like birthing a calf from out of a cow. That's how we were taken out. Goy Mikerev Goy. Then there's even the water breaking at the sea. There's a lot of images of the birth of the nation, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Kiviyachol, our mother, and we are the Peter Rechem. We are the firstborn child of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If that's the pshat, now we have a whole different understanding of our relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Part of our relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a firm commitment, and that's unrelenting. Whether we like it or not, excuse me for saying it, the Navi says, but Hashem says, I will be your God, whether you like it or not, because you are Avodim. Yes, that's true. We go from being Avdei Paro to Avdei Hashem. But on the first point, being Avdei Hashem, that's the greatest thing in the world. That's the most freeing experience. And inner freedom to be connected with God, to have all those opportunities, it's incredible. But on the other hand, we're not just avodim. Hopefully, we have this aspirational sense, and that's what we're trying to set out for ourselves on the night of the Seder, that Yetzias Mitzrayim set us up to be banim lamakom, to be children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So now we go back to our four kashas, our fear kashas. We said on the night of the Seder, Hashata Avdei Lashana Haba B'nei Chorin. Yes, we are still avodim, and next year we're going to be B'nei Chorin. We're avodim because we're stuck in Olam Hazeh, where we have lots of influences that are pulling us in different directions. We are stuck without Mashiach. We have Shibud Malchios. So even though we are physically avodim, but on the other hand, Rav Kook says, we could still be B'nei Chorin, because we could still be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to our inner selves. And now we're saying even more. We are the ultimate B'nei Chorin, because even if we're avodim, quote unquote, because we're trapped in the Shibud Malchios in this world, in this golus that we're in, but even with that golus inside, we feel like we're banim lamakom. So avdus is on the outside, but banim lamakom and Cheres is on the inside. And now we understand why the mitzvahs of Kadesh, Li Kol Bechor, and all these Bechor mitzvahs are crucially centered right in the middle of the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, right with Makas Bechoros, because that's what distinguished Makas Bechoros, and that's what's going to remind us Ledoros. That's what's going to be in our tefillin. That's what's going to remind us every single day for future generations. Ki yisholcha bincha, when the children ask these strange mitzvahs, it's because we need to tell our children that we are not just avodim, we are banim lamakom. That was the goodbye message from Yetzias Mitzrayim. We understand now that choros al aluchos, that Mishnah, is because that is essential to our being. That's what spiritual freedom is. It's being true to ourselves, and we are spiritual beings. And now we can understand how, on the one hand, we say, Hallelu Avdei Hashem, we are avodim to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but at the same time, we are Bnei Chorin. Because that Avdos is Bnei Chorin, and there's the higher level of being Banim Lamakom. Each one of us has that connection. When we're going to sing the Shira on the night of the Seder, when we're going to sing Hallel, yes, we're going to be singing as Avodim, because we are unquestionably committed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in that sense, we're still Avdei Hashem, and that's an expression of freedom. But we're going to be singing it as Banim Lamakom, as one of the Svarim, as from Ephraim of Lunchis explains it, that we are singing, sitting al Shulchan Melachim, who is our Father, Avinu Malkeinu. Whereas in Tishrei, on Rosh Hashanah, we are more focused on the Yira of Malkeinu. On Pesach, we're thinking about Avinu. This is the key takeaway we want to leave our Seder with. The idea that we are Bnei Chorin, we are free because we are the children of Hashem. Because we are the children of Hashem, we have that incredible bond of love and connection. Halavai, we can nurture that together. Thanks everybody for coming. It's wonderful to see all of you virtually. Feel free, if it worked, if it didn't work, just to send me an email afterwards if you prefer last week's a medium of learning or this week's. I'll be in touch, Amir Hashem, with the link for next week. Have a good week. Stay safe. Be well. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give all of us a Yeshua. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming.